Hey, and welcome to Combat Corner Top 5s. This week, we have our top 5 boxers in the UFC, or in MMA overall, and I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to start off with an honorable mention. So, my honorable mention is, well, you'll understand why it's honorable mention, right? So, my honorable mention is Ilia Topuria. He's an honorable mention because we just haven't seen enough of him at the top level. Ilia is a great boxer, obviously, he's proved that many a time. Great knockout power, awesome combos, really crisp and clean, very precise and very, what's the word? Technical. Doesn't slip up much, But again, we haven't seen enough of him. If he can have a long title reign and get a few more knockouts and, showcase even more crisp, clean boxing, then he might come in at one of the points in the top 5.
Very honourable.
Honourable. Number 5, we have Daniel Cormier, DC. He's got some awesome dirty boxing. What?
Nothing.
You don't like him? Daniel Cormier's dirty boxing is some of the best we've seen in the UFC. Managed to knock out Stipe Miocic with that dirty boxing in a division that he just wasn't meant for. He's much smaller than most heavyweights, and he still managed to get that done. Some real great boxing when it came to his earlier fights in Strikeforce in the UFC. Again, his dirty boxing was just awesome to watch. He didn't really use many kicks, couldn't. He was too small, too fat. But Daniel Cormier comes in at number 5 for one of the big boys. Number 4, we have Max Holloway. Max Blessed Holloway. He comes in at number 5 because...
Number 4.
At number 4, sorry, because, look, he's a great boxer. Self-proclaimed best boxer in the UFC, but he has been outboxed before. A few times. And I just can't put him in higher than number 4. And we're talking pure boxing, right? I don't think Volkanovski's one of the best pure boxers in the UFC. He mixes his Muay Thai in very well. But he has, Max Holloway, fallen short against top boxers before.
Got his number.
Yeah, and but saying that, great performances against the likes of Calvin Kattar, Brian Ortega, when he even taught him how to box mid-fight. Insane. Jose Aldo, the volume punching is just next level. We don't see it much in the UFC. Moving on, number 3, a guy who has bested Holloway before, Conor McGregor. We put him at number 3.
You did.
I put him at number 3. I've just realized who I've put at number 1, and I'm kind of reconsidering. Anyway, Conor McGregor came in. Absolute awesome left hand, some awesome knockout power, extremely explosive striker, great crisp, clean boxing, and he also fought Floyd Mayweather and took him pretty far into that fight. Did well, landed more punches than some of the top boxers who have actually fought Floyd Mayweather. He came from a boxing background, won some boxing fights earlier in his career. And he really dominated with the hands in the featherweight division and also at lightweight. Number 2, a man who has bested Conor McGregor and Max Holloway, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. And it was a struggle for me not to put Conor above him, but look, he beat Conor, beat him with the hands. He beat Max. That second fight was primarily boxing. He beat Justin Gaethje with boxing. The first time. He beat Eddie Alvarez basically twice with boxing. He's had success. He clipped Khabib once. Didn't really hurt him, but that was the most Khabib ever got clipped. He's beat some top guys, Dan Hooker, and it's all usually based from his clean, crisp boxing. That's why he comes in at number 2. And at number 1, we've got Petr Yan.
Okay.
And this is my own personal pick, because I love watching his boxing. I like his high guard. I like how he doesn't get hit much. He's very hard to hit on the chin, especially in a division so technical, such as bantamweight. He has been bested, but never really in the boxing department. He got outstruck kind of by Sean O'Malley, but that was more kicks, knees, adding those in that caused him to get clipped. He had a lot of success against him too. He's just excellent. I love him. Amazing fighter. And he is my number 1 just because I love him in particular, his style, his boxing style. So, take it away, Earl.
That was a good list.
Thanks.
I liked it. It is similar, but also very different to my list. funny things you said there that really contradict what I'm about to say.
Okay.
And Piotr Jan was a very much a surprise number one. I like that though.
Thanks.
Keeping it interesting. Might get some nasty comments for that. Give him some nasty comments for that.
Don't do it. I'm soft.
Number 5 on my list is Sugar Sean O'Malley. Look, I think he could potentially have been a honourable mention as well. Like Ilia Topuria, he hasn't been quite as seasoned as, what I hope, but I'm also not a very seasoned MMA fan myself. But look, he's there because he manages to find people's chin. The other thing he does beautifully is he sets up his strikes with like feints, like we've talked about before. The feints that he uses are realistic to the strikes that he throws, and not many other people do that in MMA, but it is something you see quite commonly in boxing. And I think the way that he mixes that into his MMA game plan is just beautiful, and it sets up him being able to knock people out clean time and time again. So he's my number 5. The other thing I think is if he can build on the stardom that he is struggling to create right now, I think we could see some sort of boxing crossover fight. There are a lot of exciting guys in his weight class in the boxing realm that would make for a very, very good fight. Number 4 is a bit of a switcherooski with your list, is Conor McGregor. In his prime, was another master of finding people's chin. That left hand, like you say, was just impeccable, very crisp. And if it touches you, you're most likely going to sleep. Obviously knocked out Dustin Poirier the first time. Knocked out Aldo in what is the fastest title fight in UFC history. And also putting that massive win streak that Aldo had to sleep, quite literally. And yeah, that crossover fight with Floyd Mayweather was one of the first. That was the first Conor McGregor fight I ever saw. I'd never watched him fight in the UFC, and I went to a bar when I would have been 17 with a friend of mine, and we watched this fight because it brought so many people's eyes to the sport of boxing and to the sport of MMA, because the promotion behind it was amazing for once.
Dana White.
Yeah, Dana White's involvement got that going. But yeah, Conor McGregor is my number 4, and to switcheroo it up, like I said I would, Max Holloway is my number 3. I know. I'm the best boxer in the UFC, he says.
He has said that before.
The most significant strikes in UFC history, the most significant strikes in a single fight. This guy has proven time and time again that he, 1, can't be knocked down, 2, will stand and bang with anyone, and just looks so amazing while doing it. Look, his style might not be crisp. He might not be traditionally, like stylistically, the best boxer, but the way that he uses his boxing to dominate other people and maybe their ego sometimes, I think is it's so intelligent, and he just knows he's not going to get knocked down. So he is in there at number 3 for me. Number 2 is actually the same as on your list, Dustin Poirier.
DP.
I agree with you. He has outboxed some of the most impressive names on the UFC roster. 2 names on this list so far. So yeah, I agree. He does have an incredibly dirty style of boxing, but he makes it work, and he makes the other person really bite down on their mouthpiece and just get real gritty with it. And I think, I think we're going to see possibly a nice little retirement couple of fights for him, maybe in boxing, possibly after this. We could see that. Maybe the hot sauce is going to carry him through to the retirement village one day. Who
DP
knows?
versus Jake Paul, anyone?
Yeah? No. Look, he has, like I said, he has put some of the most impressive boxers to shame. Like that fight against Max Holloway just absolutely busted him up. The fight against Dan Hooker, he got thrown in the fire in the second round. Looked like he was going to get knocked out. Then he comes back and just thrashes him over the next 3 rounds. All of it is down to that boxing base. And he's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu that he knows that he can fall back on. And he just hardly uses it. So he's in there at number 2. Number 1. Now this is due to more of their boxing achievements outside of the octagon, but I think when they make a return to the octagon,
I know who it is.
they will be incredible. Who was it, Kobe?
Francis Ngannou.
There it is. Francis Ngannou put on a clinic against Tyson Fury, in my opinion. Used an MMA-style clinch to dominate inside of the boxing ring, which we don't see often. You know, it's not allowed. You know, their rule set allows it, and he used it to his advantage, and he knocked Tyson Fury on his ass.
He did.
For someone like, for one of the two honourable crossover fights, you know, we had that McGregor-Mayweather fight. Sure, McGregor did well. Sure, he had some good moments in that fight. But at the end of the day, the fight was stopped because he was getting, one, tired, and two, just absolutely annihilated in those later rounds.
He's getting hit.
Francis had everyone thinking he'd won that fight. Well, not everyone, obviously, because 2 out of 3 of the judges didn't see it that way. But look, I believe he won that fight. I believe he beat the heavyweight goat of boxing that night. And I think he will get it done against Anthony Joshua this weekend. That is my top 5.
That's a very good list, Jackson. I like it, and I agree. Look, guys, thank you very much for watching. Leave your list below and let us know what lists you want us to create in the future.
Toodle pip.
Toodle pip.